Hello everyone, thanks for dropping by. That's the latest and greatest Ford Mustang. I was 8 years old in 1964 when the Mustang was launched, and surprisingly enough, it is the most popular GT car in the entire world and caused as big a stir in the automotive world as what the 911 did. But it's also probably going to be the last GT car, as Buick and Chevrolet I've read are not going to have their GT model cars anymore. So it was the first one and it looks like it's going to be the last. Never mind, these things happen and times change. Anyway, enough about that. As you know, these women are consistently complaining on TikTok because guys don't want to date them. A lot of these women are Generation Z women, i.e. up to 23 years old. But I think Generation Z now is starting to panic, the women in Generation Z that is, because I found this. This is the New York Post. This was done on January 12th this year. As you can read, Generation Z women paralyzed with fear of turning 30, i.e. they're hitting the wall, becoming unattractive hags. Life might as well end at 22. And it's a pity piece. If you just scroll down, she's 29, she's got no children, she feels like time's running out of time and don't have my life figured out. She should have done at 29. Am I missing something? Yeah, you're missing a husband and children. Looks like she's had Botox. She could have had breast enlargements. Got a tattoo there. Well, I wonder what she looks like without all that makeup. But she's starting to feel her age now, and she sees the wall approaching. And if you scroll down, there's another lady. 30 was always the year. Put pressure on myself to be the most secure place in my life. What scares you about 30? Just turned 30 and it's freaking great. Over no lie. That could be a guy doing that, commenting on that. But they're starting to panic. Here's why I'm so scared at 30 this year. Confessed New York City influencer Nicole Ashley on a TikTok audience over 29,000. I think I grew up 30, that would be this lady. I think I grew up 30. Have a great job. Guys are not interested. The most perfect relationship. Children. I had it all. I had to have it all together. Well, life doesn't work that way, sweetheart. And that's honestly just not the case. And then more women complaining that they're approaching the wall. But as you can see, Generation Z is starting to panic. Generation Z is also turning their back on dating apps because I found this. As you can see, it's Bustle, and dating apps are in the flop era. This was done on 8th of January this year. If you scroll down, where is it? A 2023 survey of college and graduate students found 79% don't use dating apps even once a month, so they're not bothering to go on dates at all via any dating app. But then there's more women in colleges now than there are guys, so that could be the reason, one of the reasons this is happening. Guys are not taking any notice of them, i.e. the MGTOW effect. And the companies are feeling the shift. Match Group, it owns Tinder, Hinge and Matchco, OkCupid. I've seen its stock price drop 40% in the past year. Whoops. That also could be a byproduct of the MGTOW effect. And Bumble has lost its CEO of 10 years. He's had enough. He's seen the writing on the wall. And then it goes on about it. The dating apps. I'd rather be single forever. This lady Sarah, she's 29. She's approaching the wall. Met her last boyfriend on Hinge in 2018. by 29 should have had a husband, not a boyfriend. When she returned to the app 3.5 years later, things were not the same. Most compatible has become the feature on Hinge I fear the most, because it often makes me question if I am indeed destined to end up with a man whose profile exclusively includes photos of himself in sports cars, along with selfies and his best blue steel, i.e. a model look, facial expression. In other words, she's after a top 10% guy, or a 1% guy. While the most popular dating apps remain free to download, almost all encourage users to pay a monthly subscription. So you could say that monthly subscription would have been coming from guys, but guys are not bothering to date anymore, so they kept the money to themselves, and thus the revenue of the dating apps have gone down. Match Group says its paying users declined for the fourth straight quarter, with a 2023 Pew Research study found that 41% of online dating users aged 30 or older have paid for the app, just 22% of users under 20. Now the 30 or older guys 30 years or older have swallowed the red pill. They're not bothering to date, so they've kept the money to themselves, and that could be this. And just 22% of users under 30. But as you can see at the top of this article, the 79% of college graduates who are in that age group, they're not doing it themselves. There's only 22%. So there's 78% of people on college are not paying for a dating app, and thus the money has gone down. And then we got more profiles. A Rose Gatekeeper's Hot People, Hinge's feature. If you like somebody, you send them a virtual rose, but it costs you $3.99, and they don't like that. And then there's more yada yada about it, and then we go on to the next article. Have fun on your date tonight, wherever it is. I wish women still look like that instead of the tattooed and blue haired. Remember, this photograph was probably done in the 60s or late 50s, when women did look like women in America. But anyway, Bumble's struggling to survive. CEO says it's time to reconsider its women first message. Now the new CEO of Bumble is a woman. It says Bumble, a woman-centric dating app, is grappling with financial turbulence marked by recent layoffs and plummeting stock price. Standing apart from dating apps such as Tinder, Bumble's model resolve allowed women to make the first move. After women receive the match, it's up to them to send the first message to the connection within 24 hours, or the match disappears. But with the record number of men turning MGTOW, there's less and less men going on these dating apps, so women can't make the first move because there's no guys there for them to make the first move to. And remember, Chad has lots of options. That's why he's Chad. Same with his brother Tyrone. And it says, despite revenue growing to $903.5 million in 2022 to $1.5 billion last year, the company continues to struggle with significant net losses, tallying $1.9 million in 2023. Revenue primarily flows from subscriptions and in-app purchases, i.e. the Rose, and people paying prescription, but 30-year-old guys and maybe even younger guys are not bothering to go on dating apps because they've seen how women are, and it decided to take the MGTOW red pill. It's, as you can see, people, if you start joining the dots, it all seems to come the picture of the MGTOW effect affecting the dating app industry. And then we get more yada yada, and that's that. Now, I found this on CNN Business, which supports that and that. Tinder downloads are falling, but the dating era app isn't over yet. It says as many as 46% of online daters say they've used Tinder, according to the 2023 Pew Research Center. But annual downloads, i.e. new people, are down more than a third from the app's 2024 peak, which we come back to that. The fresh meat coming out of college, they're not bothering with dating apps. And it goes, the Match Group, the company which owns Tinder, reported its most recent earnings report that paying users fell 8% last year to just below 10 million. And then downloads are starting to fall, which is covered. And then we have the graphs. Dating app downloads most steadily post-Tinder decade. Remember, the fourth wave feminism kicked off in 2010. So if the girl/woman was 20 then, she's 30 now. Here's the wall. There's the drop. She's becoming disillusioned. She can't get a date. She can't get a man to commit. So they're losing interest. This was about the peak. The 16-year-olds were getting 20 years old now, then, and it dropped a bit. They became disillusioned, and then it's dropping down. Tinder's dominance is waning. Once again, theirs was the peak, almost 2014 with 13.8 million. And you can see the 20 years old when fourth wave feminism kicks off, and the 30 disillusioned, and it is dropping. Grindr is for the homosexuals and lesbians, so that's more or less been bumping along quite steadily, because there's only about 4 or 5% of the population of the Western world and America which are homosexuals and lesbians, and also transvestites and all the other sorted groups in that Rainbow Alliance. But anyway, as you can see, it's a distinctive change. 2020, MGTOW kicked off 2000, 2005. MGTOW sort of really got going in 2018, and you could see as more of the younger guys heard about MGTOW 2020, and there's the result. It's conjecture whether that's true or not, but as I said, if you start joining the dots and take a step back and look at it logically from a MGTOW perspective, it sort of all makes sense, which is what I usually try to do on these subject videos that I do. Anyway, dating apps are adapting to Generation Z. Young adults under 30 are nearly twice as likely as most millennials who are over 30 to be current and recent users of dating apps. Well, this doesn't say it does. And reasons cited for using online dating services: to meet long-term partners or spouse, to date casually, casual sex, to make new friends. It doesn't give us which is men and which is women, but you could say that as most women use these things, you could say this is the women's perspective. Now, more young people choose to date with friends. You could say close friends, friends but not close, casual acquaintances, did not know each other. That's how dating used to occur in my time. It seems that we're going back to that way. I would say that millennials and Gen Z, when they pass 30, they're going to be the most conservative generation going. Because, as you see, share of Americans reporting how well they knew their partner before dating by age group. 10%, 20% for casual acquaintance, it's just meeting up. And then people who did not know each other. That could be at a social event, 30% to 55%. Now, going back to Match and all these dating apps slowly going bust, I found this. This is the big one. The Match.com probability of bankruptcy. This number represents the probability that the Match.com will face financial distress in the next 2 years, which would be 2026, given its current fundamentals and market conditions. Now, if you go down, there's the total debt. They've reduced that. But the cash flow, you look at that, 889,956 for 2019, and then the next year it dropped to only 286 million, and it's down to 217 million, then 221 million, and down to 151 million. The cash flow is going down, even though they've lowered the debt to 0.19%. Now the debt to equity, you can see they've reduced that a bit. Debt to assets, that means the amount of debt you've got with all the physical things, the value of them, that's gone down. I don't really understand the technique, the financial things, so those of you who do, you can look at this yourself. Well, I found this interesting. The ESG ratings. Match has got an ESG score of 63.505 ESG, brownie points. Environmental score, social score, and the government score. This is one of the major problems that the companies have had. That's why a lot of them are going bust, and that includes Disney. But anyway, it's just the peer comparisons, different companies, but it all boils down to the dating app business is going bankrupt, because Tinder downloads are falling, but the dating app era isn't over yet. But as you can see, the revenue's going down. Bumble is struggling to survive, and they're laying off people, and college students are not using dating apps at all, the next generation, and they think that life is ending at 22 because there's fear of hitting the wall. The women, guys are not fazed by turning 30, but Generation Z women, they starting to panic. I'll try and find some more for this next week, but I think I'm getting on for half an hour now, so you know the routine, people, like, dislike, etc. It's completely up to you, but we're in for some interesting times, and remember, by 2030, 52% of American women will be more or less, where is she, like her. So it's going to be interesting to see what the fallout's going to be on the entire economy as this thing gathers pace, because there's nothing on the horizon at all that is practically going to stop it. You'll just have to let nature take its course, like she will, because she's getting old and she realizes it now. Okay, that's it for this one. Bye bye.